We're back again for another episode of
Big Talk About Small Business.
This is going to be a cool episode. We haven't done this before.
No.
Basically, what we're doing today is we are doing a 2024 recap of some of our more popular episodes voted by the listeners through analytics of downloads and engagement rates and such forth.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to these over again, and we can make comments based on what they said and whatnot. So I think this will be kind of fun.
It will be.
I hope so. Maybe we can give even more advice off the advice.
Maybe.
All right, let's roll, bro. You ready?
Right.
You got anything else you want to say about this?
No, I'm ready to go, buddy.
Okay.
Let's do it.
But that's what I tell a lot of young people if they want to go, want to go work, they think they want to start a company. I said, go work for one first.
Yeah,
go work for a
right.
startup.
Yeah.
Because I learned a lot of things not to do.
Learning what not to do is every bit as important sometimes as learning what to do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I was like,
Learning what not to do at other startup companies. I mean, I think it's actually a really good point in the sense of where because a lot of our listeners have not started their own business.
Right.
They might be working with big companies.
Or they might have inherited a business, or they might
Yes.
work in a business and end up the owner of the business.
That's right.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about starting up a company, like my biggest thing that I've seen is actually hasn't worked well are people that work for really large organizations and then they got excited to go start their own business without ever working for a startup.
No kidding. Or it doesn't have to be a startup, but a small business.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're used to having so many more resources.
Absolutely.
And people
man.
at their beck and call when there's nobody. You're the one dragging the trash can in every day.
That's right.
You know?
No, that's right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's so many little distractions on starting a small business, like taking out the trash. Like I'm relentless about having clean bathrooms. Like it's the most important thing to me in this entire company.
Yes.
Is having clean bathrooms.
Thank you. I love that. I always go in the bathrooms here. And
Are they nice?
They're delightful.
Great.
They are
That is
delightful.
successful to me, man.
Yes.
Because like I can't stand that.
Yes.
It's like an absolute sign of total disrespect.
Yeah.
But if, in a small, but like, guess what I do? I don't go to the restroom and I didn't write some sort of, ideology on the wall that we have really clean restrooms.
You just do it.
I do it.
Yeah.
If I'm in there and it's not looking to its abilities, I clean it myself and then I go out and start complaining about it to the rest of the team.
Yeah. I get it.
But you got to show up for that in a small business. If you've been working for Walmart all your life, probably didn't have to clean any bathrooms.
Well, I do think it's good advice to work for a small company before you start your own. You get to see how you've got to be at work in a variety of roles. You don't have the resources, and just how flexible people need to be in that kind of environment.
And I think one thing on it too is if you do go into business for yourself, the day that you decide to do that, and like let's say you quit your job, which that's a lot of pressure, right? You're quitting a big job that you had. You had a lot of security. You got paid, a lot of resources, and then you're going to be stepping into this small business realm. And on day one, bro, it's like the gates are open. And if you don't know that you need to keep that bathroom clean and that you got to be the one to get that bathroom clean by leading that example, it could be pretty painful pretty quick. But if you work for a small busin's for a little while,
you
could probably see that.
Yeah.
You'd see me cleaning bathrooms. Then you start your business,
an empowered woman that's like naming a company Confident Coffee Roasters. I think one of the greatest things that we could do is look at like how can we also, elevate women throughout our value chain. And so it just kind of started to really fall into place. And the things that I really cared about, like I also had the freedom to do. And I think it is weird to say that because it's not like I was 21, out of college and like trying to figure it out. I don't know why took so long to understand like entrepreneurship and ownership is freedom.
Right.
Now, freedom.
It's a tether at the same time.
Means many different things.
Like when your toilet was overflowing, you had the freedom to fix that.
I had the freedom.
It's funny we went back on toilets there. I mean,
Hey, we are just potty centric
so.
during this whole show. It seems already.
That was an awesome episode. I think she's just a rock star, man.
Yeah, Amber's great.
Yeah,
I love Amber.
Yeah, I mean, and what she's done. But I mean, I think one thing that really impressed me on that episode is how Amber has this deeper mission.
Yeah,
in what she's doing, right? Which, man, you know, and we've talked about this so many times, this energy and this passion that you have to have in entrepreneurship. Like, it can't be about the monies.
No, the money is an outcome.
It's an outcome, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, her driven, like, she can wake up and and you subconsciously recall that when you're dealing with problems in the business, and you are able to push through because you have a greater mission than yourself and the money.
That's the freedom she's talking about. The freedom to implement your vision is a, you know, yeah, we may all work 7 days a week or whatever, but
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
There's a lot of freedom in that. I know I've felt a lot of freedom by, I mean, it's basically an expression, especially for you. I've seen you do that
Sure.
with your, when you used to do your homes all the time. I mean, like, this was you had an expression that you were trying to get out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And it was a beautiful
And
expression.
you're free to do that when you don't have anybody else telling you what to do.
It's true. You're
Right.
driving it, baby.
I see so much as a small business owner, having been in the 401k realm and in the employee benefit world realm. Small business owners have to wear all these different hats.
Right. And we're not good at all of them.
Right.
Let's face it. I always found, you got to get the specialists in whatever it is you need. Don't fool around with the generalists,
Right.
whether that's lawyers, insurance brokers, all of them. Okay. Yeah.
I know that insurance agents are viewed as attorneys, used car salesmen, and the scum on the bottom of the pond. And I said, just give me a chance.
I don't know if it's that bad, but
It is sometimes. And so I always just tried to say, give me a chance to explain what we do differently, if that makes sense. And then you make an educated decision if this makes sense for you on there.
Well, I obviously wasn't there in that episode, Mark.
No.
Why would you do a show without me?
Well, you weren't here. It's the only reason. You were doing something else. But no, it does. I don't know what the point of that clip is, other than, no, I don't think all insurance salespeople are bad, and they do need to be specialized professional service providers. I mean, I just can't tell you how much bad advice I see from attorneys to small business owners who don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay?
I think that's the point of the clip. The generalization, right? The traps that you can fall. I mean, and as a small business, like, it's almost like I spent a lot of money wasted
Yes.
because I didn't understand the different fields of support that are out there for you, from CPAs to attorneys and insurance or whatever it might
Are the
be.
right kind of CPAs, or the
Yes.
right kind of attorneys.
That is such a big deal. Like,
It is.
I mean, and if you try to start your own business, you can just go use your attorney that helped you out in a civil lawsuit. Like, it's going to be devastating, and you feel kind of like almost like trapped that you don't know how to turn it a different way. But it does require research. It does require you to ask other people, like, Mark, who would you use
I'm telling you,
for a
dude.
deal transaction for my business? Because you don't want to use the same one that set up your LLC. They
Exactly.
don't do deals, bro.
No, I hear you. It's so important, and so many people don't realize that. It's just like the people who call me up, or homeowners, and go, do you know, I need a good handyman. Can you refer somebody to me? I'm like, what do you need a handyman for? Well, I need to replace my kitchen faucet, and then I want to refinish the floor in my living room. I'm like,
Yeah.
how about let's get a plumber to replace the faucet, and let's get a wood floor company that does floor refinishing to refinish your living room floor.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to pay that. Okay, so we can pay twice now. You can pay them to do it wrong, your handyman, and then you can redo it all with somebody that actually knows what they're doing.
It's a great example, because that's what happens in business all the time.
Same thing.
And it's so deceiving too, in business, because there's so many things. Like, on the accounting side, like, a CPA doesn't solve all your problems for your business.
No.
That's another trap. You'll go 60, 90 days, and you'll be like, what do you mean, CPA, you're not watching my books and telling me? Like, I don't do that, and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
telling you, it was money for jam, And it was a great cash business. You know, we made really good money doing that. And that was kind of the plan. You know, that was kind of the plan. You know, it was my weeks were kind of backwards. It was like, you know, Friday to Sunday. And then during the week I was getting ready and trying to find markets. And man, I'm a dog, you know. I'd go for anything.
All I got from that was I'm a dog. I can go for anything. I love that, man.
Yeah, he was talking about building his popcorn company in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And working on the weekends and just hustling in order to be able to make it.
Do you have to do that, Mark? Is that something that is a reality of entrepreneurship? Do you, I mean, seriously, do you really have to work over the weekend and at nights?
Eric, I mean, do I have to or do I? I mean, do I have to? Maybe not. Do I? Absolutely. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you understand that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like, I swear, if I'm awake, I'm working. I hate to say it. It sounds terrible.
Don't hate to say it. I think that's freaking championship, man.
I woke up at 6 o'clock yesterday, and I swear to you, I was still in my jammies at 11 o'clock because I was immediately working. I spent an hour and a half on the phone and email and text between 6 and 7:30 with one company that I work for. And then I just went to call, write. I didn't even have time to go get myself cleaned up and get dressed for the day.
Yeah. You're just cranking it, man.
I was cranking it, baby.
I love it, man.
And it's like the last thing I did, you know, before I shut the lights off was respond to an email.
You know, I found myself, like when I work on weekends or in the evenings or early mornings is sometimes a really good one for me too. I mean, I can like, dude, if I wake up at 4 a.m., don't even try to go back to sleep. Like I don't know how many times I've had to relearn that lesson.
I know, you're right.
I mean, I'll toss and turn my brain. I mean, if I wake up, my brain's
you're
like,
up, dude.
You know, it's like starting to figure some shit out. And but if you can get up and in those off times when everyone else is typically not working, what I like to do there is I do like to prepare, plan, and try to make my coming days when I have time with the people that are at my team. How do I make myself superbly efficient?
Yeah, you're getting ahead.
Getting calendar, getting meetings set. Like
I understand totally.
You know, it's like that cleaning emails.
Working on those longer term initiatives that you
Yes.
don't have time to do during the week.
Yeah,
because you're so busy doing the work of the business.
Yeah, exactly right, man.
Yeah,
That's it. So dog it.
dog it.
Leave you with one thing. It's just try it. Just try it if you're thinking about it. I mean, I love hearing stories of people that said, you know what, I'm going to see if this works. Let's try something. And if it fails, it fails. That doesn't define you. It could be something though. Like when we started our business, we had no idea in, 4 or 5 years, we'd be selling hundreds of thousands of orders.
Yeah.
That wasn't on our radar, but we had the gumption to go, let's try something and see if there is a possibility of something here.
But
Amen.
I agree.
Don't be a wantrepreneur. Do it.
Damn.
Do it.
Hell yeah.
Just like Nike, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's a really great saying because it's the truth, man. I mean, you take the action. I had a friend that was an attorney for a firm, just kept going back and forth. Denver had really good experiences because he had this vision of how you should be practicing law. But it took him like 5 years to go do his own business. And he was calculating, running numbers like for 5 years, is it going to be okay? And I'm like, bro, starting your business is like having a baby. You will never be ready to have a baby. You're never going to be really prepared for that. You'll prepare that until the day you die. Then you don't have one.
Right.
But it's the same thing. If you have an idea and you have a desire for it,
best way to learn is by doing.
jump in, baby.
I agree.
Learn to swim. Jump off the boat.
Most of us really want to connect with the community next to us. Want to engage it, do something special, and be that artist. We need as a community is not to reject developers, but to embrace them, engage them, find the ones there, encourage them, provide policies, things that provide support. I know. There's so many people developing coming from all over the country that want to invest their money, be an artist here. We have to be receptive to that. It's just, right now we're all learning about how to deal with outsiders, insiders, how we're building this community.
And what I'm really most
That's a big deal, because I think that a lot of, in growing areas, right? Like, you have an old way that you always did business. People did the same thing. And then if you have a growing area, like,
it attracts the outsiders.
It attracts outsiders. And next thing you know, you have neighborhoods popping up, and then you got these businesses. And then a lot of times the businesses that have been here for a while have a really challenge of recognizing it, although they could embrace it and they could.
That's how you up the game.
You up the game, man.
Yeah, we got higher standards now. We got these people coming in from outside that are doing things better. How can we learn?
Have a higher expectation, and then provide that service. And guess what will happen? Your business will do better.
Right. You elevate the whole area. You elevate the community.
I figured out, like, so I was a naturalist. I'm always been I'm a big environment. I love the environment. I love nature and all that stuff. But I figured out a long time ago, I'm like, man, why am I trying to, like, fight progress on a lot of things? Because you cannot stop it. No, it's never been able to be stopped.
People always want to enlist me to help them stop something. I'm like, you called the wrong guy. Okay?
Yeah.
I hate it when people are trying to tell me I can't do something.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get on that bandwagon.
And here's the reality to it. It's not going to stop. Like,
Right.
no one person can stop. Like, I can even see small towns that try to stop it.
If it does stop, then everything else runs over it, and then they regret it.
Exactly.
Okay? Because they don't keep up.
That's right.
I mean, you can see the evidence of that right here in Northwest Arkansas with certain communities.
No, you totally can. And I mean, like, and the thing is like, it's going to surround you, then it's just going to engulf you.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, you have to be, like, you can actually control the change a little bit better if you get along the right. I mean, like, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So jump in, man. Enjoy it.
Really most excited about is the next step this next month. I'm bringing in a really talented creative director who had experience with cityscapes, had experience with writing content for Sam's Club. So she's very seasoned, and she's going to step in as, hey, can I help manage the direction of your content calendar? Okay. How do we work with ad partners and give them features where it doesn't all feel pay to play,
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, people need to learn something new about Fayetteville.
I don't know what the moral of that story is, other than as you grow your business, you got to bring in people that know something about what the heck they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is a media business, a magazine business, started by somebody with no real experience, and he's done a great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to, as your business matures, sometimes you need real expertise.
You do. You do. And you got to know, as the business owner, what your weaknesses are, and be real with yourself on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if there's really humility to that, other than it's just freaking reality.
I'm inherently lazy, so I have no problem avoiding my weaknesses. It comes naturally.
And it's a different vibe when people want to be part of the company. Ownership has to be taught. And the company's not worth anything if no one wants to own it.
Amen to that.
So you got people knocking at the door saying, hey, when, can I buy in next year? I said, well, the opportunities are going to go to the people that help grow the company. So it's logic. You have to play hard. You have to be one of those leaders. And if that's the case, then certainly let's grow the pie. Let's get you involved.
That was I think, one of the more impacting episodes for me personally in my business. It was that conversation it was really about open book management. I mean, that was just like, it kind of helped me see even more the value of that. And I actually started practicing that really quickly after that episode, even more light to the company. And it's been positive.
Yeah, it's so critical. If you want to train those people in how the business operates, so they can be future owners, you do have to share that information with them. But I also got out of that is they act first.
Yeah.
Then they become. Not make me an owner and I'll start selling work. Okay? It's demonstrate that you bring value to the business. Then we can talk about expanding the pie.
Totally
What
agree.
comes first?
The action comes first.
Yeah.
You render service first, then you get money. Like you said, money's the outcome. All that stuff is the outcome. very fresh. Like I have met really talented, capable people that would be awesome to have on the team, but they're wanting to negotiate something in the beginning that is just absolutely 100% threatening,
unrealistic
and threatening for me and the business. Like how can I, and for the rest of the employees.
Sure.
But people get so siloed in this, and then they're, everybody's trying to play this protection game, that it becomes like a total win-lose scenario. You can't do win-lose scenarios.
No,
man.
you can't.
If you want some equity in this puppy, come in.
Yeah.
Grow this thing.
Make something happen.
Make it happen. Make it more valuable.
Now, if the owner of the business doesn't recognize what you're doing, then you got to move on.
That's it.
Okay?
That's it.
You're not going to force them into it.
That's right. And if
you shouldn't.
If you keep coming across people that don't recognize your value, then guess what you do? You start your own business.
Exactly.
So what you're looking for here is the green light. And until you get the green light, you have no business trying to sell anybody something. Now, somebody won't give you the green light until they answer those questions. You already hit them. Do I know you? Do I like you? And can I trust you? So mentally, every customer will ask those 3 questions before they feel confident to go forward with you.
I mean, he's on it, man.
I have been, ever since Matt gave me that, I try to teach all my students this idea. It's so critical. If you want to sell something, they got to know you. They're not going to like you if they don't know you.
Yeah.
They got to like you. And if they like you, maybe you can get them to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And if any one of those things is broken, they're not going to trust you. And if they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. It's just such common sense, but people don't understand it. You got to have the small talk. You got to get to know people personally. You've got to ask them questions and let them talk. If they do that, they think you're great.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They know you because you ask them questions about themselves.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I think, I was actually, it's funny, just even like yesterday, I was talking to somebody in sales, and they've made it too complicated. Sales are not really that complicated. It becomes really complicated, in bigger organizations, but even there, it's really not that complicated. The best salespeople are the ones that just, they build a relationship, and if they're genuine about that, like if I approach you about wanting to sell you something, I'm actually thinking in my mind, will this be a benefit to you?
Yeah.
And if I believe that it is, then I'm going to try to come help you with what I have to offer.
Of course, sales is helping.
It's helping.
Speaking
that's the relationship.
Speaking of trust, though, okay, I didn't tell you this story, but in the last month or so, my wife and I have been looking to buy an RV.
Mm-hmm.
I've had them in the past.
Yeah.
So we finally, we're honing in on what we want. We want a motorhome. We ended up buying a diesel pusher. Tiffin, which is really a nice motorhome.
Oh, nice.
Used,
How
but
big?
Mint condition. It's only 30-footer, which is really
bad.
cool.
That's actually, you can
That's
get into
what I
places.
want. Yeah, we wanted a shorter Class A. But anyway, we're looking at a motorhome right down the street here at a particular dealership.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a certain price, okay? It was low miles. So I go onto their site. It's a national chain.
Mm-hmm.
I go on their site to see what other ones they have like that. They have one in Nashville for $15,000 less.
Oh, wow.
Okay? With 1,000 more miles on it. I mean,
that's
either
nothing.
one had 2,000, this had 3,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's new, all right?
Yeah.
So the sales guy and the sales manager, I sent him a link to this. I'm like, how can you expect me to pay what you're paying when I can buy one from your own company?
Yeah.
I'll drive 400 miles.
Yeah.
It's worth it for $15,000.
Yeah.
Okay, then I get this sales manager calls me up. Well, that one's got all these problems and yada, yada, yada. The floor needs to be replaced. The blinds are bad. I look on the website. It doesn't say anything about any of that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I call the place.
Uh-huh.
Well, I can't get them to return my call. I call the Nashville location. They don't return my call. I call them again. They don't return my call. It was clear to me. You talk about trust. I believe the sales manager of this location talked to the sales manager at that location and said, don't talk to this guy about yours because I'm trying to sell him one here for $15,000 more.
They just think about the money. They're
Okay.
thinking about the deal.
Yeah. So I didn't buy anything from him. But the trust was completely violated.
Completely busted. And you're not going to buy anything from them
Not going to buy anything from him.
You're not even go to their store anymore.
No.
You're out.
I'm out.
But that's that's how a lot
crazy.
of people fail at reselling, is because they'll invest a bunch of money and then their products aren't selling and they get discouraged because they don't know what they're doing. But that was the same way with me. Like, I very first started out selling video games, but it wasn't like these kind of really nice video games. It was just like your basic $10 to $60 video game that I could get at pawn shops.
No one cared.
Dude, I love that episode.
That guy is so
he's
brilliant.
Awesome, man.
He is.
I need his information again because I got some stuff he might want to be hawking for me.
He came over to my house and I sold him like 4 bins worth of stuff one night.
Did you?
Yeah, it was just in my garage. I'm like, I got Model A parts, Rolls Royce axle bearing removal tools.
Love it.
And the guy's amazing. He bought it. He makes so much money. Of course, I gave it to him all cheap.
Yeah, sure. But hell,
I got rid of it. Where else am I going to do with this
go
stuff?
Donate it,
right? They wouldn't even know what I donated.
No.
But anyway, the guy is so brilliant. He's made so much money and he saves it and he invests it wisely. And he's going to be a millionaire by the time he's probably 26, 27 years old in cash.
And what's his strength? What's his specialty? What's his brilliance? It's hustling.
It is hustling, man.
Hustling,
I'm telling you. When he's telling you that about being at a estate sale at 3:45 a.m.
on a lawn chair in a
yeah. I mean,
That's awesome.
There's a guy who's freaking motivated.
Love it.
People go, these young people, they're not motivated today. No, some of them are. Okay?
No, I agree with that, man. Like I think that stigma, that whatever you want to call it,
stereotypes.
I hate that because I disagree. I found some of the most impressive people.
Yeah.
That are much younger than I am. I'm like, dude, if I was just a little bit of you, I'd be freaking rolling.
It's so true. I just that's reinforced to me every week.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my wife and one of her friends who's also a professor at the College of Business where I am about one of my students. And I go, this guy blows me away, okay? He wants to meet with me. We sit down. He's so perceptive.
Hungry.
He's always thinking ahead. So he took a job in corporate America. He's like, what advice do you have? What should I do to get ahead? Okay. And then they're talking to him about the technical path or the managerial path. He goes, the technical path, I don't want to move out of that too fast. So I'm a manager and I don't really know what I'm talking about. At the same time, he goes, the technical career path, it ends here, whereas the managerial path is way up here.
Smart.
He goes, what do I do? I go, dude, you're going to have to figure that out. Okay?
Yeah, this is one of those
but I'm
things.
just saying the guy is thinking like that.
Love it.
And he goes, I'm taking this job. It's going to be in Jonesboro. I don't know anybody in Jonesboro. He goes, that means I can work 60 or 70 hours a week with total liberation.
I almost want to end this episode right there. That's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm like, you're right. That's why you're going to get ahead.
That's it, man.
I have no worry. So anyway, I mentioned this guy to my wife and her friend. Her friend teaches classes and has just thousands of students.
Yeah.
She does a lot of online. She goes, I know that guy. And you're right. He is amazing.
That's awesome, man. I love it. That's leadership right there, man. That is just driven leadership. I mean,
it's going to make it happen.
It makes me like enthusiastic as hell to come across those people, man.
I don't worry about this guy. I think he's going to be fine.
He's going to be all right. He's going to be completely fine.
Just work harder, dude, on the 50 good jobs that you did. Right. That's cool. You can brag about it all you want. You know, the one they're going to talk about is the one that you didn't do worth of crap. You didn't plan. You didn't operate. Everybody in town will know about it quicker than you can blink. It's still a small town around here, but the 50-to-1 ratio. So do 100 jobs. So when that one does hit, we're going to be all right, and the talk ain't going to be too loud, you know. But it's not about mistakes you make. It's how you handle them. And I've earned more customers off of mistakes I've made than I have ever, not one time, just doing the job
Gives you a
perfect.
chance to correct it.
If I do a perfect job, 95% of the time they're going to price shop me the next time I freaking send a number in. But I would say
that is so profound. In fact, the last time Matt Lewis was in here with his brothers, getting ready to record their podcast that they do here, I saw the three of them. We started talking about that. I'm like, mistakes are great. It's a chance for you to demonstrate how you respond. You'll come out ahead if you do that right. In most cases.
Totally.
You know?
When we talk about that, all my mind goes back to is me waiting tables back in the day. Mm-hmm. I loved that game so much. I know we've talked about it, but there's something to, like, there's so many potential mistakes that can happen in a restaurant dining experience.
Yeah.
But that challenge, and you learn, if I can.
How do I deal with that?
How do I get that tea topped off, man? Yeah. And should I top the tea off? Because did they put sweetener in the tea? Because if I go top it off with the unsweet tea, it's going to dilute the sweetener that they put in there, and that's going to piss them off.
How about when they never give you the ice? The ice is all in the thing, and you got like this much ice on top of your iced tea.
Yeah.
Because they just keep pouring the tea in without giving you. It irritates the hell out of me.
But I love the mistakes. I can remember like one of the biggest mistakes I made in that. I was like, I had to have been like 17 years old or something. I'm working at the Holiday Inn in the restaurant in the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
And I'm in there like I was like
back when Holiday Inns were nice.
Oh yeah, it was really.
It's like the best restaurant in town at the Holiday Inn. I know. I remember.
And it had the big round table in the corner where all like the city leaders would come in and drink the power table. Right. They'd come in and drink coffee, right? And there was this old lady, man. Mm-hmm. I don't know what she did, but she knew people, right? She had a good seat, and everybody moved out of the way when she sat down. But I come in, with their coffee, and I was just, tapping off coffees and stuff. And I came around hers one time, and I remember she put her hand over her coffee super fast. She goes, No, I just sweetened it the way I wanted it. No more coffee. And I'm like, but that was a huge mistake, man. I was so offended. But what I learned from that, though, was like, oh, hell no. I'm never, I'll never make that mistake again with that lady.
Right, and you can always ask them, would you like me to top it off?
Exactly. And
right.
But I learned from that. Like,
right.
But now the rest of all my customers, I had a thing in my mind going, I've made this mistake before.
Not going to do that
I'm
again.
not going to do it again. I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
And that made me a better server.
Of course. Then you were the top.
I was the best.
Yes.
I was the best damn server that ever lived, Mark.
Fear of rejection is a little more prevalent today in our youth. And there's so many adages, fall down 99 times, get up 100. Iron sharpens iron. All those are saying the same thing. And it's basically, you're not going to learn unless you try and do and fail. Failure is a good thing if you use it for your growth. And the more you grow, the less you'll fail.
We would never fail from the long-term sense, but you have micro failures along the way, and you pick yourself up and keep going, right?
Exactly. You've got a boss.
Basically the same thing we were just kind of talking about, right? Call them mistakes is really what they are.
Exactly.
They're
Let's
mistakes.
Just be willing to make mistakes.
Yeah. Don't call it necessarily failure, right?
Yeah, that's like saying defund the police, okay? It's along the same lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, nobody likes that.
Mm-mm.
It's got a negative connotation to it.
It does,
Failure has a negative connotation.
But I think what Tanner was kind of talking about, though, is I think that maybe the younger folks have heard the term failure
right
over and over and over again. Like, don't fail, don't fail at this, don't fail at that. And so there's like this analysis paralysis.
They're just risk averse.
I'm just totally,
yeah.
How do I not fail?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't fail by not believing that you will fail.
Yeah.
And not failing. That's how you don't fail, is you don't fail.
I think people got to think more about what's the worst thing that can happen here.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you start always asking yourself that question, you're going to be more willing to do things that may not work out.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think usually my big driver is that if I don't do it, then it's going to fail anyway.
Yeah.
Boss who
right.
has poor integrity, treats people poorly. Your direct supervisor. Your direct supervisor. Yeah. That is the culture you're living in, right? And so hiring, again, the right people, but the right leaders who will not only reflect but amplify the CEO's culture and morals and ethics and integrity and all these things, that is how you cascade it throughout an organization. Right. So the bigger the company, the harder it becomes.
Well, that's so true. But unfortunately, a lot of people think they're who are below the level of the CEO, but at a high level, they think their job is to show why the CEO's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, somebody's got to tell the emperor he's got no clothes. You know, that kind of mentality. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I need support here.
Yeah. I think that's what JS was talking about, like, in how you hire those leaders, right?
Yeah.
That biggest lessons I've ever learned in my life were like the leaders that you hire into the team, because they can legitimately make or break the entire corporation.
Boy, no kidding. It's so true.
And they got to be in line, and you know, they've got to be in line. They've got to be able to be part of the mission of the company, and they have to believe that you help the company helps the team. Period. That's the way everything works. Hey, I know you got to get going. Mark's got a flight to go to some board meetings.
Board meeting.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
board.
okay.
I'm sorry.
It's
sorry
okay.
about that.
No, I got to go to New York today. It's going to be cold up there and rainy.
Mm-hmm. But you're ready for that.
But I'm ready. It's a very exciting company that I work with up there, and
awesome, man.
I've worked with for many years, and it's
you know, I think that'd be a really good topic is to talk about boards. And
I think
board
we should
structure.
talk about that.
I mean, we've learned a lot from you. All right. This has been fun, man.
It has been. There's so many great episodes and so much wisdom out there that some of our speakers have brought to us.
I just want to say thanks to all the guests that have joined our show. Yeah. I mean, it's cool to recap of that. I smile every time I see one of the guests on there and just kind of remembering that. And
yeah, they're all great people.
They're just wonderful people, man.
They really are.
Thank you all for tuning in and listening. It's been another episode of Big
Talk
about small business. I like the way you came in when you wanted to, Helmut.
I'm being disruptive.
Ooh.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk about small business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.